Oh my gosh, is anyone else dealing with insane allergies this time of year? I feel like I just watched like The Notebook 100 times over. And I'm not like a pretty crier. I get all red and swollen. It's not pretty. So if it looks like I'm crying today, I'm not. I mean, I am, but I'm not sad. It's just trees, am I right? Hello everyone, I am here today to do a Sephora haul update for you guys. If you saw my Sephora haul that I did 2 weeks ago, you would know all the fun goodies that I got, and I've been testing them out over the last little while, and now I have a definitive opinion on all of them. So I wanted to sit down today and share with you some of my favorites, the ones that I didn't like so much, how I've been using them. And in case you missed it, last week I did a 5 first impressions using some of the products that I talked about here, so I won't get into those ones in as much detail. So if you are interested, I will put the link in the cards in case you want to check that one out in a little bit more detail and see how the products wore throughout the day. But I am excited. I have the box. So let's get into this. The first product I want to talk about is actually two products, and that's the Cover FX Custom Enhancing Drops. Is that what it's called? Custom Enhancer Drops. Apologies. First of all, I think between the two of them, I think Moonlight is best when I have self-tanner on. Celestial is best when I don't. And I've been wearing them in a couple of different ways. Number one is I've been mixing it in with my primer. 2, mixing it in with my foundation, and 3, wearing it on top of the cheekbones as a highlight. And I think my favorite way of wearing it is combined with my foundation, because that gives the most beautiful luminous glow to my skin. I'm not gonna lie to you, I was a little bit scared I was gonna look like a crazy robot or something if I mixed in too much. Look how metallic and frosty and insane that is. So you can understand my hesitation when I was about to put that all over my face. But when it's blended out with your foundation, it just, like I have it on my skin right now, it just gives a really pretty dewy finish. And I think that's my favorite way. If you want something that's a little bit more low-key, then mix it in with your primer and then put your foundation on top. I'm wearing it also on my cheekbones as a highlight. However, it is a little bit trickier to wear it like that. I put it on with my beauty blender and I tap it onto the face. It just gets a little bit blotchy. You have to be really careful because I don't want to mess up any of the foundation that I have on underneath. So it's not my favorite way, but if I do want a strong highlight, that's definitely the way to go. Next up, I want to talk about a lip gloss that I got, and this is by Tarte, and it is their Tarteist Glossy Lip Paint. Or perhaps it's Tarteist. Tarteist makes more sense, you know, artist, Tarteist, I get it. And I got it in the color Obvi, and first of all, I want to say that the formula itself is really nice. I do like it. It is quite pigmented. It is very, very glossy. It feels really nice and hydrating on the lips. It doesn't feel like really goopy or thick or anything like that, so I really like it. However, I will say that I find that this color in particular is a little bit too orange toned for my skin. I will probably be going out and getting another color. They have a couple of really, really pretty ones. So I'm gonna experiment a little bit more because I really like the formula. It just, this color was just for me. Now I want to talk about the Bite Beauty lipsticks. This haul in particular was very lip focused. Did anyone else notice that? Or am I just noticing that now? But there were 4 different lipsticks. You'll notice I only have 3 here, and that's because one of the colors, Kale, I actually wore for my 5 first impressions, which is this blue-green kale colored lipstick. It's quite interesting. But I want to talk about the other colors and tell you what my thoughts were in how they wore and the colors and all that fun stuff. So the first color is in Lavender Jam. This just felt a little too pale for me personally. It has this nice gray tone to it, which is really interesting. It just wasn't my favorite. Next up is Whiskey, which is a reddy brown tone, but when you apply it to the lips, it almost looks black, but it's a much warmer black, and it's really pretty. I think this is gonna be gorgeous for fall. And then lastly is Thistle. When you apply it to the lips, because I looked at it and I was like, oh, this will look nice. And then I put it on my lips and I was like, whoa, that is much more of a gray mauve than I was expecting. I think this will be really nice as a fall nude for me, just because it felt a little bit dark and heavy, and plus it's a little bit on the matte side for summer. Overall, in terms of the formulation, I think it's beautiful and buttery and creamy, and it smells good and it's amazing. The one thing, I just wish it was longer lasting. It just, none of these stayed on my lips for a significant period of time, and that is a little bit aggravating. But if you are willing to put in the time and effort, they're really pretty. Now let's jump into the Smashbox product, shall we? This is a big one. I spent some time here. I went through all of the colors that they currently offer, and I picked out my absolute favorites for you guys, and I wanted to share them with you. First of all, let's talk formula, because I'm impressed with it. It is really serumy when you apply it. It dries down to a nice matte finish, but it doesn't feel super matte on the lips and like really drying. It stays put through all the meals. Like I just like, you know, like the inner part that started to wear by like the end, like by dinner time, it started to wear a little bit. But stayed on pretty significantly. It didn't crack or cake or flake off my lips. Oh my gosh, these are amazing, guys. So first we'll start with the more nude and natural colors, and these were my favorites. They're all in sort of that pinky tone because I find those to be the most flattering with my skin tone. Number one is in the color Dream Huge, which looks like this, which is a beautiful mauve pink, and it is what I'm wearing on my lips right now. It's just gorgeous. I should say I put a gloss on top. They're not normally this like glossy, but felt like a little glossiness today. The other one is Big Spender, which is a beautiful deep rose tone, and then lastly is Babe Alert, which is a nude rose. They're just nice everyday shades. Next up, the bright shades. You guys know I love me a good bold lippy. This one is in Shockaholic, which is a beautiful, shocking pink. It is like Barbie level of pink, guys. Next up is Blast Off, which is a bright, bright coral pink. Then Let's Dance, which is a pretty fuchsia tone, more of a wearable purple if you're looking to kind of venture into that sort of arena of purple lipstick. And then Bawse Bound, which is a pretty corally pink, a nice summery color. And then finally onto the reds, and I narrowed it down to these three as my absolute favorites. Number one is in the color Bang Bang, which is a bright true red. Oh my goodness, so pretty if you love a really bright, bright red. And then next up is, as I talked about in my 5 first impressions, the color Boss. It's a very deep red. It's one of those colors, it makes you feel like a boss. It does, like there's no other way of explaining it. And then lastly is a Misconduct, which is described as a nice warm deep plum. And I think again, this is one of those beautiful shades that's gonna be gorgeous for fall time. So I'm really excited to play around with this one. Those were all of my favorites. I think the line in general is gorgeous. If you have a chance to go out and swatch them, I highly recommend it because they have a huge range of colors and they are definite win. Next up is one of the foundation sticks that I got, and that is in Estee Lauder's Double Wear Nude Cushion Stick Radiant Makeup. The whole premise behind it is that it has a little cushion tip at the end. You twist this up and then you can apply the makeup. It's all in one step. And because it's part of the Double Wear line, I was really excited because I love the consistency and the coverage from the Double Wear foundation. I've been playing around with it and I have to say overall, I'm honestly not overly impressed with this. So first of all the product comes out of the little hole in the center here, and it's very easy to like build up way too much. You have to be really careful with how much you turn this, and it's very, very easy to turn it, which makes a lot of mistakes very, very doable, especially if you're me. On those times when I did do that, I kind of like dot it on my face and then blend it out, and I don't know what it was, but I think maybe the sponge is too small, or I don't know, I just found it to be a little bit streaky because of the hole in the middle, and it just wasn't blending in right. It took a lot of effort. It was nice to blend in around the nose because the sponge tip is so small, but I think overall I just wasn't loving it. It was taking a lot more effort than say like a brush or my beauty blender, and the coverage was fine. It wasn't super high coverage or anything. It did give a nice radiant finish, and it settled really nice on the skin. Overall, just wasn't super in love with this, so I'm gonna stick to the original. And lastly is the Skin Glossing Pencil by NUDESTIX, and this is essentially a glossing pencil, as the name would suggest, that you can apply to the tops of the cheekbones or onto the lips or the eyes, anywhere you want to add like a very natural, luminous glow to the skin, but you don't want anything super glittery or super shiny if you don't want that whole like really big streaks of glitter on the face kind of a highlight, which I happen to like. So when swatching this on my hand, I was actually surprised because it has this almost champagne-y glow to it, which is really pretty, and it looks really nice on the skin. However, the texture itself, it is very thick. It's very difficult to apply, I found. I was hoping it would be a little bit more serum-y and glossy when you apply it, but it was really difficult. Like I'd apply it to the cheeks and then it would take a little bit of work to rub it in, and then I was worried that I was like rubbing all of my foundation off when I'm trying to rub it in. When it did go on the skin though, it looked really pretty and had this really nice natural glowiness to the skin, which is really, really pretty. I also applied to the Cupid's bow, which was nice, and to the eyelid, but I didn't love the texture. So I think if the texture was a little bit thinner, it would be much easier to work with, and then I would probably love it a lot more. And that's everything for this video. Give it a thumbs up if you love haul updates and you're excited for my next round of hauls, which will be coming up in the next couple of weeks. Oops. Been doing some shopping, I'm sorry. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss out on new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. I hope you're all having a wonderful, wonderful week so far, and I'll see you guys all in my next video. Love you girls. Mwah.